Thursday 9 a.m. is already behind us. We have time to tell you about the most important news. The television news service is at your attention. While you're watching this broadcast, please don't forget to take a moment to like and comment. At night, Russians launched air attacks on northern, central, and southern Ukraine. In the Poltava region, a Russian drone struck a gas station. 3 drivers and a cashier were injured. Vehicles, the building, and station equipment were damaged. The fire is extinguished. Shaheeds were shot down over Kyiv. In the capital suburbs, warehouses and a private house caught fire from the attack. Details in the next TCH broadcasts. The previous evening, the enemy attacked Dnipro with Shaheeds. Enemy drones hovered over the city. People took shelter in underground passages and the metro. Some of the drones were destroyed by air defense forces. Several fires broke out as a result of the attack. Shelling did not subside in the Nikopol district either. An apartment building and 7 private houses were damaged there. A supermarket, a grocery store, and a post office were also affected. The enemy attacked Sinelnikivshchina with guided aerial bombs and drones. There, private homes and an agricultural enterprise caught fire, and a car and a gas pipeline were damaged. The number of injured in Inhulet's Kherson region has risen to 5. The Russians dropped a guided aerial bomb on the village. A family was injured in their own home. 3 adults and a 3-year-old child were hospitalized. Later, another local resident with a blast injury sought medical help. The occupiers shelled Kherson with artillery and dropped explosives from a drone. 2 city residents were wounded. Private and apartment buildings were damaged. A listening device was discovered in the office of the mayor of Lviv. Mayor Andriy Sadovyi reported this on social media. According to him, the bug was found in the charger for a special communication phone. The issue was discovered by accident. The phone started malfunctioning, so it was sent for repair. That's when the technicians found built-in surveillance equipment with a memory card and a SIM card. In this office, Sadovyi receives both Ukrainian delegations and international guests. Who exactly could have installed the bug and how long it had been operating is still unknown. I would like there to be an investigation so that the leadership of the security service of Ukraine and everyone involved would give me an answer. What is this? In the Dnipropetrovsk region, a mandatory evacuation has been announced for another 18 settlements in the Sinelnikove community. First and foremost, this will apply to children with their parents or legal guardians, according to the regional military administration. The National Police, the State Emergency Service, humanitarian organizations, and local authorities will assist with the evacuation. People are ready to be received in calmer areas of the region. Mandatory evacuation in some districts of the Dnipropetrovsk region began as early as April. And since then, the number of settlements has been expanded several times. After all, the enemy shells some districts every day, attacking them with drones and guided bombs. He openly declared his support for Ukraine. King Charles III of Great Britain, in his speech honoring Donald Trump's visit, noted that the Allies are united in supporting Ukraine to deter aggression and ensure peace. Today is the 2nd day of the US President's visit to Great Britain. The day before, he was given a royal reception. Donald Trump and his wife Melania were welcomed by the royal family. Then there was a ride in the royal carriage, fanfares, and an honor guard. Trump was greeted by more than 1,000 guardsmen and cavalry. In his honor, an air show and a lavish banquet were held. And today, the American president is scheduled to meet with British officials and hold talks on a new nuclear technology agreement with the foreign ministry, and on aid to Ukraine. The publication Politico writes that diplomats have long been searching for ways to push Trump toward decisive action regarding Russia and Putin, and they decided to involve King Charles. He is known for his support of Ukraine. Additionally, the European Union will provide 40 million euros to Ukraine ahead of the cold winter. This was announced by the President of the European Parliament, Roberta Metsola, in Kyiv. According to Metsola, this money will go towards supporting heating and lighting. In addition, the EU will provide shelters and generators to help rebuild damaged homes and improve access to drinking water and sanitation infrastructure. Roberta Metsola, who has supported Ukraine since the very first days of the full-scale invasion, spoke in the Verkhovna Rada. First of all, she paid tribute to former Speaker Andriy Parubiy, who was killed in Lviv at the end of August. The President of the European Parliament assured that nothing will be decided about Ukraine without Ukraine, and that peace must be lasting, not temporary. She supports the opening of a new cluster for Ukraine regarding our country's accession to the EU. Metsola also thanked the MPs for restoring the independence of NABU and SAP. Standing, the Verkhovna Rada welcomed the news about the opening of a permanent European Parliament office in Kyiv. And also, Metsola announced the 19th package of sanctions against Russia.
The European Union has already mobilized a total of 169 billion euros, of which 63 billion euros is specifically for military support. Additionally, we are moving forward regarding the use of frozen Russian assets. We are committed to continuing to apply significant and sustained pressure on Russia. In line with this, we fully expect that the 19th package of sanctions will be formally adopted in the near future. We are also working in close coordination with our international allies to ensure these measures have the maximum possible impact. Finally, we will resolutely continue the process of moving away from a dependency on Russian gas and Russian oil. And we will also be addressing the very important issues related to the shadow fleet. And we will be sure to do so much more quickly.
Estonia is building a 40-kilometer anti-tank ditch on the border with Russia. Its construction is planned to be completed by 2027. In the northeast, the country is protected from the aggressor by natural barriers such as the Narva River and Lake Peipus, but they decided to fortify the southeast. They also ordered the construction of nearly 600 bunkers there. Overall, the defensive zone is expected to stretch for about 100 kilometers. The Baltic countries fear that after Ukraine, they could become the next target of the Kremlin and are preparing for any scenario, especially after the incident with Russian drones in Poland and military exercises in Belarus. Estonian Defense Minister Hanno Pevkur shared this in an exclusive interview with TSN correspondent Oksana Kravchenko. He spent several days in Ukraine and managed to announce that next year Estonia plans to allocate 100 million euros in military aid. Currently, Tallinn is trying to direct its main resources specifically towards strengthening the Ukrainian army. You are watching TSN. To stay up to date with the most important news, subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications. And now, I continue with the news broadcast. The Russians have advanced in the Kharkiv and Zaporizhzhia regions, as reported by the analytical portal Deep State. Meanwhile, the occupiers amass forces near Pokrovsk. The enemy has made gains in Kupiansk. Occupier units have entered the city. This is confirmed by recent geodata. Our defenders have also been pushed back from positions near Nova Vanyivka in Zaporizhzhia, according to the Institute for the Study of War. The enemy is pressing along the entire front line, but they are concentrating most forces in the Pokrovsk sector. In the fighting there, they are losing between 10 and 20 soldiers for every meter of captured land. The gaps in their personnel are being filled, in particular by militants from the Kursk region. The Ukrainian armed forces are counterattacking the enemy at the salient near Dobropilya, where the occupiers are trapped. The defense forces have encircled them near the village of Kucheryavy Yar and the intersection of Shakove and Nove Shakove. The protection of military personnel's rights is finally set to take effect. The Verkhovna Rada has finished reviewing the amendments and has adopted the presidential bill on the military ombudsman as a whole. The ombudsman will be able to receive complaints from military personnel or authorized individuals and initiate investigations into possible violations, including those reported in the media and complaints submitted confidentially by service members. The law was submitted as urgent back in May, but its approval was not rushed. This even led to street protests. So, in the end, today the deputies supported it. If the president officially signs the bill into law, there will be a period of 30 days to establish the office of the military ombudsman. After that, the ombudsman or their subordinates will then be able to conduct their inspections in the military units. Based on the findings from these inspections, the command will have a total of 10 days to hold the responsible individuals accountable. The military ombudsman will also be able to report directly to the commander-in-chief. Olha Reshetilova, the president of Ukraine's Commissioner for the Protection of the Rights of Servicemen and their Families, says that the institution will primarily help the defense forces implement positive changes and provide maximum protection for the rights of servicemen, as is done, for example, in NATO countries.
We are actively working to strengthen the defense forces. We are in no way being created for the purpose of persecuting commanders or to punish everyone indiscriminately. That is absolutely not the case. On the contrary, our primary purpose is to help to resolve problematic issues related to our human capital, issues that concern the sense of justice and, accordingly, the motivation of all servicemen.
The United States will contribute $75 million to the Reconstruction Investment Fund. Its creation was stipulated by the agreement between Ukraine and the United States on subsoil resources. Another $75 million will be invested in the fund by our state, as reported by the Cabinet of Ministers. A portion of the money for this has been reserved in the 2026 budget. The rest will be reallocated from this year's programs. They also expect to attract another $50 million to the fund from other investors. This capital acts as a catalyst. American investments can serve as a reliable security guarantee both for Ukraine and for American businesses in Ukraine. said Yulia Sviridenko, Prime Minister of Ukraine. In addition, over the course of the next 2 months, Ukraine and the US are set to sign a contract with the fund administrator, open bank accounts, establish a subsidiary company, and draft all relevant investment protocols. This means that the fund will have both the capital for investments and the necessary tools to make those investments. The U.S. International Development Finance Corporation, DFC, recently visited several sites and assessed their investment potential. Ukraine and the U.S. are confident that this step will serve as a green light for international investors who wish to join the fund and invest together in mineral resources. Scandals involving disabilities in the prosecutor's office. After inspections were carried out at the Prosecutor General's office, 57 employees who had obtained disability status for themselves were dismissed from service. This was reported by Prosecutor General Ruslan Kravchenko on his Facebook page. The vast majority of them held administrative positions. But that's not all. Kravchenko noted that there are currently another 228 disciplinary complaints under review. So the inspection is ongoing, since there are still almost 50 employees with disabilities remaining at the Prosecutor General's office. Back in July, 348 of them were sent for review by the Disciplinary Commission. 41 prosecutors have submitted resignation letters of their own accord. This is how they hope to restore trust in the prosecutor's office, Kravchenko noted. Let me remind you, this was preceded by a scandal involving fake disabilities, which occurred back in October of that year. At that time, the head of the Khmelnytsky Regional MSEC Center, Tetiana Krupa, was detained. Nearly $6 million in cash in various currencies was found in her possession. She was charged with illegal enrichment. Later, journalist Yuri Butusov reported that Krupa had arranged second-degree disability status for 49 employees of the Khmelnytsky Regional Prosecutor's Office. This included the regional prosecutor Oleksiy Olinik. Subsequently, he was dismissed from his position and inspections were launched, which have been ongoing for a year. The panel of judges retired to the deliberation room to announce the verdict. The hearing in the Shevchenkivsky court has concluded regarding the case of the murder of 16-year-old Maxim Matarukin by State Security Service employee Artem Kosov at the funicular station in Kiev in April 2024. Today at the court, during the debates, the side of the victims, the lawyers, and the father of the deceased boy were heard. After him, the lawyer of the accused, Artem, spoke. And before the judges retired to the deliberation room, they also gave Artem a chance to speak. The prosecution is seeking a life sentence for him. He stated that he had no motive for murder and did not realize that such actions would lead to consequences resulting in someone's death, and added that he is sorry and regrets what happened. The Prosecutor General of Ukraine, Ruslan Kravchenko, also attended the court today. The verdict in this case will be announced on September 22nd. I still remember vividly the moment he was born. Because I was present at the moment of his birth, but I will never get to see him go off to university, get married and start a family, or, for example, win a major award in football. Ashin. Now, the only lasting image I will ever have of him is his small body in the coffin. I am so truly and deeply sorry. I sincerely repent with all of my heart that this terrible thing happened, that an innocent person has died because of my own actions. I want to make it absolutely clear that I did not in any way plan these crimes. I had absolutely no motive for them, no reason whatsoever. I couldn't even begin to imagine that such actions would lead to such terrible consequences, especially that the child would be so tragically affected. I am truly and deeply distressed by all of this. And so, with that said, if we talk about what appears to be genuine remorse in the defendant's final statement, how might that ultimately influence the final decision in this very serious case?
Unfortunately, we are the ones who are left to repent. We only heard it at the end, not at the beginning. And while the trial was ongoing, when we were examining specific evidence, the defendant lied to the court and provided different information. Therefore, genuine remorse does not affect me in any way, and my position remains unchanged. I am a representative of the prosecution. We are seeking a life sentence.
A large-scale firewood scam, almost 40 victims across Ukraine. And that's only those who reported it to the police. In the Dnipropetrovsk region, 3 men were caught who defrauded people of over 300,000 hryvnias. The scheme was organized by a convict from prison. A 28-year-old repeat offender pretended to be a forester, posting ads on social media about selling high-quality firewood at low prices. He demanded advance payment to a bank card, supposedly for fast delivery. His 2 accomplices on the outside withdrew the money. Then the scammers would block the numbers of the deceived clients, change their phone numbers and bank cards. The fraudsters face up to 12 years in prison with confiscation of property. Fake enrollment to avoid mobilization. In Vinnytsia region, the director of an educational institution was enrolling men into a higher education institution for money, allowing them to receive a deferment from military service. The director involved an employee in the scheme who accepted documents and handled organizational matters. Police seized 140 personal files of men of conscription age and nearly 3 million hryvnias in cash. They also confiscated fake certificates of enrollment. Both women face up to 8 years in prison. The regions are being flooded. Ukraine has been hit by rains with strong winds. The Ukrainian Hydrometeorological Center declared a first-level danger warning for the coming days. A significant temperature drop has been felt in Kyiv, the western regions, and the north, as well as in Vinnytsia, Odessa, western Cherkasy, and Kropivnitsky. The cyclone will reach Mykolaiv, Kirovohrad, Kherson, Dnipropetrovsk, and Zaporizhzhia regions. On Thursday, the maximum air temperature in Ukraine will be between 15 and 20 degrees Celsius. In addition to rain, wind gusts of up to 20 meters per second are expected during the day, so please be careful. Do not park your car under trees or near billboards. But already on Friday, warmer weather awaits us, and over the weekend we can expect a real Indian summer. The air temperature will rise to plus 28 degrees, and there will be no precipitation either. At this moment, that was the last update. Don't miss our upcoming TCH broadcast to stay informed about current events.